ahead, Gary. It's all right.
Hey, I'm Gary Striegler, and we're at the Mark Adams School of Woodworking. We're doing this cabinet on cabinet. We're actually doing this class on cabinet building. It's the mass that does that. One of the things we're doing is building this corner hutch over here, and I like to put a curved top rail on that those types of corner hutches because it's more work, and after all, if it's more work, it's got to be the thing to do. I have a semi-simple way of making that curved top rail. Now we're not just going to curve the top rail, we're probably going to make it like a second video on putting a bead on the underneath side of that top rail. But what I've done first is just drawn out this blue line that's going to, I believe, represent our cut line. And I drove the trammel in. Is that it right there? So I'm going to put like a pencil mark around because that trammel point is kind of important to me. And this is the board now. Here's a pro tip for sure. We want to make this board a good bit wider than we actually need in case, you know, we have to back up and do something again. I want to leave maybe about 3 inches up on the top after I cut the radius. So we're going to come up equal distance there. It's about 2. Just make it 2 the whole way. I'm just going to draw a line. I think this is the straight edge up here. Now I just want to scoot it back and forth to where the radius, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we're already, this distance is longer than what we need. So I've made it extra long. I never want to try and make anything exact. So that's pretty close. Now what I want to do is just take a headless pin or a couple headless pins and shoot them in. I'm actually probably going to shoot them in down here in what will be the waist, but they'll hold it while we cut the piece. So what I'm going to use is just a router trammel. You guys will pass that to me. Now the trick to this though is going to be we need to have some sort of a little block right there that's kind of equal to this thickness. And an even greater trick is I need to be able to find, so let's do this. Let's go ahead, is that?
That's your mark, yep.
That's back in the mark. Okay, well, there we go. See if we can sharpen that just enough to get me any kind of a little tip. It's like real life. The reason that I'm wanting to be able to draw this blue line, not real good at math and geometry and that kind of stuff, but if I can get this line in here, does that bother anyone else's ears?
What?
Okay, now, if we tack this piece back down there, we can just tack it any old way, just put 2 or 3 pins in it. I can find my radius back, the pivot point back, just by anywhere along this line, swing a little radius. And here, so the point where those 2 cross down there is where we need to be. And let's get Ted to help me. Ted, if you just run a screw right in there, is where those 2 cross. Okay, and back it out. And go ahead and run the screw through that pivot point.
This one here?
Yeah. Now the only question I'm sitting there thinking is,
Are you on the same radius?
yeah. I originally was hoping I was on 36. Well, I'm close. We're in the ballpark. Hey, as long as we're...
That's it right there.
All right, so we're a little bit off. Let's back that up. Just get me a hole about right there. Oh, we got plenty of screws. So I believe I have this set. The key to the distance I set this is I tried to set this at a gentle enough radius. It's about a 36-inch radius that I'll be able to bend my bead mold around. Now let's see what it's going to look like now if we if we hit that radius. Okay, that's a lot closer to where we want to be. So I'm just using this small compact router. All I've got to go and set that screw in there, please. Okay. All we've got to do is just cut an initial, that'll work. Just kind of an initial groove, and then I will actually use a jigsaw and a plush trim bit to make it the rest of the way around. So my radius is a little bit off, but it doesn't matter. That's why I made this much wider and much deeper than I had to have. So we'll go ahead and unscrew that. Instead of making a whole bunch more passes through there, which is kind of hard on my router, what I want to do now, I always want to get those headless pins out of there before I find them later with my hand. So I'm going to take a jigsaw. Is there one laying there? There we go. It's amazing stuff just mysteriously appears from off camera. All right. This is the piece of trim I'm wanting to keep. So I'm just going to jigsaw kind of close to that line. So now I'll just take a router with a flush trim bit bearing, and I've just got to set it. See if I can show this. What we're going to do is set it deep enough so that the bearing rides in that first cut that I made. Don't plug it in quite yet till I get this set.
You ready?
So now that bearing is going to follow this clean cut that we made, and it'll clean up all that part that I jigsawed out. It's, boy, if I could get it shallow enough to where that bearing, that wasn't going to hit me good, but I don't think we're going to get there. So as long as I got someone willing to help me hold it. So I've got a nice true radius. It's going to require very, very little sanding. I want to lightly hit that. And then I've just got to determine what the actual width of this top rail needs to be for the cabinet. Looks like we followed it pretty true, but at the end of the day, I've just got to get to where I've got an equal distance down here. You know, the center may actually be side to side, but that's why I don't try to get things exact. I'll make the piece oversized, and then I can go back and find the center after I've actually made the cut. But that's going to become the top curved rail, and then after we get this all in place, we'll actually bend a beaded mold around the inside so that this opening will have a beaded detail.